Our guest today is Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is the queen of country music. A one-name wonder, Dolly has sold over 100 million records and topped the charts in both country and pop music. With more than 5 decades in the spotlight, she's done it all.
You know, don't judge a book by the cover, because I'm a real good book.
Dolly Parton, who is famous for her vivacious personality and her music that has become iconic, has experienced her fair share of highs and lows. An alleged feud between her and a well-known female celebrity exists behind the scenes. Speculations suggest that there was no love lost between the two of them. She had times when she struggled with intense feelings towards this star, despite the fact that Dolly's public image continues to be positive. A deeper look into Dolly's career and personal struggles will be provided to you in this video, which will also explore Dolly's early life before she became famous. What was the truth about what took place behind closed doors? Life before fame. Born on January 19, 1946, Dolly Rebecca Parton grew up in the modest Sevier County, Tennessee surroundings. Reflecting her family's lowly beginnings, she was born in a one-room cabin close to the Little Pigeon River in the Great Smoky Mountains. Dolly was the fourth of 12 children in her parents, Robert Lee Parton and A.V. Lee Caroline Owens' sizable family. The Partons battled greatly financially. Relying on the land and Robert Lee's work as a farmer and construction laborer, they lived without indoor plumbing or electricity. Dolly's life always included music from a young age. Her mother, A.V. Lee, with her lovely voice, first exposed her to the local church hymns and ballads. Dolly's later career was set up by early musical exposure. Early on, she started displaying her developing talent by singing in church. Dolly was performing regularly by the time she was 6. Her love of music only deepened. Dolly began performing with a homemade guitar in 1952, around 6 years of age. Seeing her potential, her uncle Bill Owens, who also participated in the neighborhood music scene, gifted her a real guitar when she was just 8. This was a turning point in Dolly's life since she started writing her own songs and fantasized of working in music. Dolly's family supported her aspirations, developed her skills, and pushed her to follow her dreams, even though they were financially struggling. Dolly's musical approach was greatly influenced by the rich Appalachian cultural legacy that stories and songs were firmly anchored in the folklore of the area, and Dolly absorbed these inspirations and combined them with her own voice and viewpoint. She was not depressed about her family's poverty. Rather, it drove her will to achieve and give her loved ones a better life. Early career. Early on in her music career, Dolly Parton sang on East Tennessee's local TV and radio programs, most famously the CA's Walker Show in 1955. Her early performances laid the groundwork for her future success by helping her to acquire stage presence and confidence. Dolly had become well known in the neighborhood music scene by her adolescent years. She relocated to Nashville in 1964 in order to follow her aspirations, overcoming typical difficulties in entering the cutthroat music business. Her fast-growing reputation for songwriting brought her and her uncle a BMI award and resulted in hits like "Put It Off Until Tomorrow" for Bill Phillip. Dolly signed with Monument Records in 1965. First, they tried to sell her as a pop artist. Following little success, the label changed its emphasis and released her first country single, "Dumb Blonde," in 1962. A significant turning point in her career occurred when the song reached number 24 on the country music chart on the Billboard website. The performance highlighted her strong and independent persona, which struck a chord with country audiences and put her on the path to becoming a famous singer. When Dolly joined the Porter Wagoner Show in 1967, It was a momentous occasion in her career that marked a significant career milestone. Porter Wagoner, a well-known figure in the country music industry, recognized Dolly's immense potential and extended an invitation to her to participate in his television program. Through the participation of this partnership, she was able to significantly broaden her audience reach. It was Wagoner who facilitated Dolly's signing with RCA Victor, and Wagoner made a commitment to produce her records as part of the agreement. In October of 1967, they released their first single together, which was titled "The Last Thing on My Mind."
Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind?
It was successful enough to reach the top 10 on the country chart. Their musical partnership was strengthened as a result of the success of this duet, which ultimately led to the release of their first album together, titled "Just Between You and Me," within the year 1968.
Just between you and me, I've got my doubts about it.
The album reached its highest position on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart at number 8, indicating that it was a commercial success. Because of the undeniable chemistry that existed between the two, as well as the fact that their performances were able to enthrall audiences, Dolly became an even more prominent rising star in the country music scene. In spite of the fact that her collaboration with Wagoner was thriving, Dolly was eager to pursue a career as a professional singer. Just Because I'm a Woman was her debut solo album, which was released by RCA record label in the year 1968. The album was a significant step in her career, despite the fact that it did not achieve the same level of success as her duets with Wagoner. The song "Just Because I'm a Woman" was the title track, and it addressed the double standards that women are subjected to. This track demonstrated Dolly's boldness in addressing social issues through her music. In 1969, Dolly Parton made a significant choice that would have a significant impact on the trajectory of her career. In order to pursue a career as a solo artist, she decided to leave the Porter Wagoner Show after 7 years of participation on the program. The fact that she made this move was significant because it demonstrated her desire to independently establish her identity in the music industry. Even though the transition was not without its difficulties, Dolly was resolute in her goal to demonstrate that she was capable of standing out from the shadow cast by her mentor, Porter Wagoner. The song "Just Because I'm a Woman," which she released in 1968, was a clear statement of her independence and self-assurance.
My mistakes are no worse than yours, just because I'm a woman.
And it was the song that marked her departure from the band. By showcasing her one-of-a-kind voice and her ability to write lyrics that are relatable to her audience, the song established the foundation for her solo career. Dolly continued to compose songs that struck a chord with audiences on a profound level, and her distinctive style started to emerge as she began to perform on her own. Jolene, which was released in 1973, is considered to be one of her most iconic hits.
Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you.
As a result of the song's eerie melody and vivid storytelling, it quickly won over the hearts of listeners, and it became a classic in her repertoire. Dolly Parton's reputation as a talented storyteller with a powerful voice was cemented when Jolene climbed to the top of the country charts and became the most popular song of all time. As a way of saying goodbye to Porter Wagoner, Dolly composed and recorded the song "I Will Always Love You" in 1974. The song was a declaration of love as well as a statement of independence, which reflected the complicated nature of their professional relationship. This song reached the top of the country charts and went on to become a worldwide phenomenon after Whitney Houston covered it transforming it into a massive hit. Dolly Parton's rise to superstardom was marked by the release of additional hits during this time period, including "Love Is Like a Butterfly" and "The Bargain Store," which further solidified her position as a prominent figure in the field of country music. By the middle of the 1970s, Dolly Parton had already solidified her position as a country music superstar within the industry. Despite this, she was not content to rest on her previous accomplishments. 1976 was the year that she started venturing into uncharted musical territory with the intention of reaching a larger audience. For a country artist at the time, this phase of her career was characterized by a deliberate effort to cross over into pop music. This move was both bold and risky for her, as it was a move that she made intentionally. A significant turning point was marked by her album, Here You Come Again, which was released in 1977. The number 3 spot on the pop charts and the number 1 spot on the country album charts were both achieved by the title track, which became a major hit. Dolly was able to demonstrate her versatility and her ability to appeal to a wide variety of audiences through this success. Her talent for writing catchy, relatable songs that resonate across genres was on full display in the album, which featured a combination of pop and country-influenced elements. Additionally, during this time period, Dolly evolved into a well-known figure on television. She appeared on talk shows and variety shows on a regular basis, and she was able to captivate audiences with her sparkling wit and magnetic personality. In 1976, she debuted her very own variety show, which she called Dolly, and it lasted for a full year. It was through the show that she was able to demonstrate her talents that went beyond music, which further endeared her to her fans and broadened her audience. The success of Dolly's efforts was recognized by the industry as a whole. Her accomplishments were recognized with a multitude of awards, including a number of Country Music Association (CMA) awards. As a prestigious acknowledgement of her contributions to country music, she was awarded the title of Entertainer of the Year by the Country Music Association in the year 1978. She continued to push boundaries and defy expectations throughout this period of her career, which resulted in both commercial success and critical acclaim for her work. As the decade of the 1980s began, Dolly Parton made yet another courageous move in her professional life by entering the acting world. It was in the 1980 comedy film 9 to 5 that she made her debut in the film industry. She appeared in the film alongside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. Not only was the movie a financial success, but Dolly's performance received a lot of positive feedback. Due to the fact that her natural charm and comedic timing shone through, she stood out among the other members of the ensemble cast. In addition to her work as an actress, Dolly also made a contribution to the success of the movie by singing the title song 9 to 5.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. Don't take
This song went on to become one of her most successful hits, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and topping the country charts when it was released. This song became an anthem for working women because of its catchy tune and empowering lyrics, which resonated with a large number of people. The performance demonstrated Dolly's capacity to connect with a large audience and reaffirmed her position as an entertainer who can perform a variety of styles. As a result of the success of the film 9 to 5, Dolly continued to investigate opportunities inside the film industry. Her acting and singing abilities were once again brought to the forefront in the musical comedy The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which she starred in while she was in the year 1982. One of Dolly's most successful songs, Hard Candy Christmas, was featured in the film and achieved widespread success. She was able to demonstrate her ability to transition fluidly between various forms of entertainment through her performances in these films. During this time period, Dolly also continued to pursue a successful career in the music industry. A commercially successful album, 9 to 5 and Odd Jobs, was released by her in 1981. The album was a commercial success. She demonstrated her musical versatility and willingness to experiment with a variety of sounds through the album's combination of country, pop, and rock elements. During this period of her career, she released a steady stream of albums and singles that were commercially successful, which further solidified her position as a prominent figure in the entertainment industry. Success that is ongoing. The Bee Gees were responsible for writing the hit duet Islands in the Stream, which Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers participated in performing in 1983.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong?
Its rapid ascent to the top of the country and pop charts is evidence of Dolly's widespread popularity. An album of classic covers from the 1950s and 1960s titled The Great Pretender was released by her in 1984. The album showcased her distinctive take on well-known songs from the past. In the following year, Dolly and Kenny got back together to create Real Love, which was yet another hit duet. Nevertheless, the album Trio, which she released in 1987 in collaboration with Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt, was the one that truly stood out. It was a landmark in the history of country music, and it was praised for the harmonies and chemistry that existed among the three members of the trio. The album was certified platinum and won a Grammy. Towards the end of the 1980s, Dolly returned to her country roots with the release of her album White Limousine in 1989. The album was a success with both fans and critics alike. At roughly the same time, she opened Dollywood in Tennessee, a theme park that celebrated Appalachian culture and quickly became a popular destination despite its relatively short existence. As part of her album Eagle When She Flies, which was released in 1991, Dolly featured hits such as Rockin' Years with Ricky Van Shelton. Dolly, her variety show, was also broadcast from 1987 to 1988. And it was there that she demonstrated her singing and entertaining abilities. Dolly had a very busy time in the early 1990s. Slow Dancing with the Moon was her debut album, which was released in 1993 and featured contributions from artists such as Mary Chapin Carpenter and Tanya Tucker. Dolly's ability to work with others was brought to light by the album, which received positive reviews. Her live album, titled Heart Songs Live from Home, was released in 1994 and featured a performance at Dollywood, which allowed her to demonstrate her live appeal. Following that, she returned to traditional country music with the release of Something Special in 1995. In 1996, she released Treasures, an album consisting of her favorite covers performed acoustically. Dolly Parton celebrated her bluegrass heritage with the release of The Grass is Blue in 1999. This album was met with widespread acclaim from music critics and was awarded the title of Album of the Year by the International Bluegrass Music Association. Her career reached a significant turning point with the release of this album, which saw her return to the Appalachian music that she had always cherished and brought her new fans. After this success, Dolly continued her exploration of bluegrass with the album Little Sparrow, which was released in 2001. The album is a blend of traditional and contemporary bluegrass styles. The album was well received by critics who praised her vocals and the authenticity of the music. Dolly delved deeply into her musical roots, which resulted in the album experiencing positive reception. Halos and Horns was Dolly Parton's debut album, which was released in 2002. The album featured a variety of musical styles, including bluegrass, country, and other genres. One track that particularly stood out was her bluegrass rendition of Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, which exemplified her daring and unpredictable musical spirit. At this time, Dolly was honored for her songwriting by being inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in the year 2001. This event served to further solidify her position as a significant figure in the world of music. Through a series of collaborations and appearances on television, Dolly's career flourished in the early 2000s. The album For God and Country, which she released in 2003, was a patriotic collection that featured her own compositions, in addition to traditional American songs. It demonstrated her strong connection to her roots. As a result of her collaborations with a wide range of musicians, she became an icon in the music industry. Her appearances on television helped to keep Dolly in the public eye and brought her music to the attention of new fans. She gave performances on a variety of talk shows and specials, during which she discussed her life philosophy and career, which contributed to the growth of her reputation as a well-liked and approachable celebrity. When the middle of the 2000s arrived, Dolly continued to investigate new avenues in the music industry and the business world. With the release of Those Were the Days in 2006, she showcased her appreciation for the music of the 1960s and 1970s by putting her own personal spin on classic hits. The album was a collection of cover songs from the aforementioned decades. When Dolly's theme park in Tennessee, Dollywood, became a major tourist attraction, it was clear that she had a strong understanding of business. The fact that she was actively involved in the company's operations and frequently made public appearances helped her win over the hearts of her followers and exemplified her entrepreneurial spirit. Dolly Parton made a significant comeback to mainstream country music in 2008 with the release of Backwoods Barbie, which was her first album in nearly a decade. On the Billboard Top Country Albums chart, the album, which includes both original songs and cover versions of songs, made its debut at position number 2. It received praise from both fans and critics, highlighting her ability to combine traditional country music with her own distinctive style. 9 to 5 the Musical, which was based on the film that was released in 1980, made its debut on Broadway in 2009. As a result of her writing all of the music and lyrics, she was nominated for multiple Tony Awards, including one for Best Original Score. Because of this success, her abilities as a songwriter and composer were brought to light, which increased her influence in the entertainment industry. Dolly Parton went on a prolonged tour during this time period, performing in front of sold-out audiences all over the world. As a result of her concerts, which featured a combination of classic hits and new material, she was able to connect with her audience on a personal level by sharing stories and insights from her life and career.
Working 9 to 5, going away to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taken.
Her concerts were filled with warmth and charisma. Dolly Parton has been committed to philanthropy in addition to her career as a musician, with a particular emphasis on literacy and disaster relief. Her Imagination Library, which provides free books to children from birth to the age of 5, was expanded to several countries outside of the United States of America because of her efforts. It was clear that she was devoted to education and reading, as evidenced by her efforts. Additionally, Dolly made a significant contribution to disaster relief, providing assistance to communities that were affected by natural disasters. Her commitment to making a positive impact was demonstrated by the charitable work that she did. Better Day was Dolly Parton's album that was released in 2011, and it featured a combination of traditional and contemporary country music. Her strong vocals were showcased in this album, which reached number 51 on the Billboard 200 and number 9 on the UK Albums chart, which was her highest position in the UK at the time. Despite receiving mixed reviews, it was a success. Blue Smoke was an album that Dolly released in 2014, and it was a celebration of her musical roots. The album included elements of bluegrass, country, and gospel music. It made its debut on the Billboard 200 at position number 6, and it commanded the top spot on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. The accompanying Blue Smoke World Tour was a huge success, and the performers received a lot of praise for their heartfelt storytelling and their high-energy performances. A stripped-down production that highlighted Dolly's vocals and songwriting was featured on the album Pure and Simple, which was released in 2016. The album featured love songs. According to the Billboard 200, it made its debut at position number 11 and it topped the Top Country Albums chart. Her Pure and Simple tour, which was her largest tour in North America in more than 25 years, had the effect of re-establishing her connection with fans all over the continent. A sequel to Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors, Dolly Parton's Christmas of Many Colors Circle of Love was produced during this time period. Dolly Parton also made significant progress in the realms of television and film during this period. The audience responded positively to these films, which were based on her childhood and demonstrated her storytelling abilities beyond the realm of music. Dolly Parton announced the release of her third Christmas album, titled A Holly Dolly Christmas, in the year 2020. The album featured collaborations with artists such as Michael Bublé and Willie Nelson. The fact that it achieved the highest position on the Top Country Albums chart and debuted at number 16 on the Billboard 200 chart demonstrates her continued versatility and broad appeal. The fact that Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square, her Christmas special, was awarded an Emmy in 2021 is evidence of the fact that she continues to exert a significant influence in the entertainment industry. In addition, she disclosed that she would be working with the author James Patterson on the book Run, Rose Run, which would be accompanied by a soundtrack that would be released in 2022. This would be a combination of music and literature. The induction of Dolly Parton into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022 paid tribute to her influence that extended beyond the realm of country music. Her rock credentials were strengthened with the release of Rockstar in 2023, which featured collaborations with rock legends such as Paul McCartney and Stevie Nicks.
I'm rocking it! I've been rocking since the day I was born.
The album was praised for its ambitious combination of rock and country music, which received positive reviews. Vinyl Me Parton was a subscription service that Dolly Parton launched in 2023 in collaboration with Vinyl Me Please. The service focused on re-releasing classic albums from her catalog on vinyl. This included albums that are considered to be landmarks, such as Jolene, 9 to 5, and Odd Jobs. These albums made it possible for other generations to enjoy her music in its original format, thereby highlighting her enduring legacy. Was she truly enamored with Linda Ronstadt, as the rumored feud against her suggests? The establishment of the Trio. Trio is the name of the album that was released in 1987 by Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris, which was a collaborative effort. Their individual talents were brought together on the album, which was met with praise from critics. In spite of the fact that the concept of working together originally surfaced in the 1970s, it wasn't until 1986 that their schedules coincided. The name Trio was chosen as a tribute to the Kingston Trio, which was a well-known folk revival group that existed in the late 1950s. After years of experimenting with a pop-oriented sound, Dolly Parton finally returned to her musical roots with the release of this album. There are difficulties in recording. The process of recording the first album was not without its difficulties, but those difficulties were nothing compared to the difficulties they encountered during their second collaboration. Particularly between Dolly Parton and Nora Ronstadt, tension was caused by scheduling conflicts and musical disagreements. George Massenburg, the producer, stated that the sessions were dominated by the female participants. There was a record set by the girl. These are three women who have taken a significant amount of control over their lives and careers, and they refuse to accept the conventional notions that have been held about their position in the world and in the world of music. They were able to solidify their success as a collaborative group by achieving multi-platinum status and winning a Grammy with their debut album, despite the challenges they faced, as well as disagreements and delays. Even as they started working on their second album, the problems continued to get worse. As part of the follow-up album, Emmylou Harris disclosed that it was challenging to get in touch with Dolly Parton. The process of getting in touch with Dolly is extremely challenging. He stated that she is surrounded by a greater number of people. There was even a suggestion that Ronstadt and Harris would record as a duo, with Dolly Parton contributing to a number of tracks. Parton, on the other hand, was adamant about recording either as a trio or not at all. The timing problems persisted, and tensions increased as a result. Because of their disagreements, Dolly Parton made a joke about the possibility of the album being titled The Three Tempers. The meticulous studio work that Ronstadt did was a source of frustration for Parton, who preferred a more rapid pace. It was once said by Dolly Parton that Ronstadt enjoys working in the studio, and that she works so slowly that it drives her crazy. I had the intention of saying, "Wake up, I have things to do." The release of the album was not carried out until 1999, despite the fact that some recordings had begun in 1994. It was released earlier than Parton would have liked, despite the fact that she wanted to delay it even further in order to promote it more effectively. She was left with a sense of hurt and burdened with guilt as a result of the experience, and she had the impression that her word was not sufficient for her collaborators. Recognizing the obstacles. In her autobiography, Dolly, My Life and Other Unfinished Business, which was published in 1994, Dolly Parton admitted that she was the primary obstacle in the process of putting together the album. In spite of the fact that she was uncertain as to whether or not the project would ever be completed, she expressed her regret to Harris and Ronstadt and expressed her hope that it would be successful otherwise. Ronstadt acknowledged their working relationship in 1999, stating that they were good colleagues who shared a common love for traditional music. Despite the fact that they did not always get along with each other, Ronstadt described their relationship as one of collaboration and professionalism. "We are, in my opinion, very good colleagues. There has always been a connection between us that stems from our shared appreciation for traditional music. The whole is far more than the sum of its parts." Having said that, she did mention that working with Parton could be considered difficult. Any recommendations for alterations would be completely ignored by her. That is all there is to it. She does it her way. In spite of these obstacles, the second album was nominated for a Grammy Award in the category of Best Country Album, and the song After the Gold Rush was awarded the Grammy Award for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals. Problems during the recording process. Ronstadt was candid about the challenges she faced while recording with Dolly Parton and Harris. The difficulties that Ronstadt encountered in coordinating with 3 different managers and record companies were discussed in an interview that she gave to Rolling Stone in the year 1978. In the event that their collaborative album had to compete with Dolly Parton's solo work due to poor timing, she questioned the impact that this would have on the album. In addition, it was a significant challenge to find a style that was suitable for all 3 artists. According to Ronstadt, the trio ultimately made the decision to record the album within a span of 10 days, which was stated to be an impossible task. Even if Jesus Christ and Buddha had been the ones responsible for producing that album, it would not have made a difference. She said that something like that could not be accomplished in 10 days. The completion of the album, on the other hand, took way more time. Success in the face of obstacles. The reception that Trio received from the general public was overwhelmingly positive. After reaching number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart, the album remained on the chart for a total of 48 weeks. It reached number 1 on the Top Country Albums chart of Billboard and remained there for 84 weeks over the course of its existence. During its 4-week run on the chart in the United Kingdom, the album reached its highest position at number 60. The album Trio was not only nominated for Album of the Year, but also won the Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a duo or group with vocal. There was a nomination for the song Tell Me Lies in the category of Best Country Song. Trio turned out to be a successful and well-liked album, despite the challenges that were encountered during its production. Social tensions. Despite the fact that Ronstadt and Dolly Parton worked together professionally, Dolly Parton frequently experienced feelings of alienation within Ronstadt's social circles. Despite the fact that she had achieved fame while still retaining her country roots, Dolly Parton experienced discomfort when attending parties hosted by Ronstadt. This was explained by her guitarist, Don Roth, who stated that the reason Dolly Parton appeared to be so snobbish was because she was afraid of people from big cities and unfamiliar social situations. Her snobbish demeanor can be attributed to the fact that she was frightened, precisely because she is frightened of people who live in large cities in New York. However, if there is one thing that Dolly is not, it is a snobby person. She is outgoing and humorous up until the point where she is confronted with a circumstance that she is unable to manage, at which point she begins to withdraw a little bit. The struggles that Dolly Parton faced at Ronstadt's parties, which were frequently attended by major artists, were recounted by Roth. Because she did not feel like she belonged there, Parton chose to avoid attending these gatherings. Roth stated that she frequently expresses the sentiment that she simply wishes to leave Ronstadt's residence as quickly as possible whenever she attends a party at her residence. For a considerable amount of time, everyone was saying to her, "Isn't that wonderful? At Linda's party, you will have the opportunity to meet a Rolling Stone, and all of these individuals will be present." According to her, however, I would much rather not. Even though I have a lot of respect for Linda, I am not a fan of her crowd.